Talking Trees with Lily and Jad. This episode of Talking Trees tells the story of John Davey, the founder of Davey Tree Expert Company. Born in England, Davey became a leading figure in arboriculture, known for his strong work ethic and environmental focus. After immigrating to the United States, he founded his successful company, which still follows his guiding principle, do it right or not at all. His contributions to arboriculture and tree preservation have left a lasting legacy in the industry.
Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. You know, we like to dig deep into the roots of things, and today is no different. We're going way back to explore the life and work of a true pioneer in our field. John Davey.
Father of tree surgery.
That's him.
Yeah.
And you know, as arborists, we all know the Davey Tree Expert Company.
Of course.
But I bet there's a lot about John Davey, the man himself, that even seasoned pros might not know. And that's what we're here to uncover.
I'm excited to dig in.
Me too. And we've got some great sources for this one. We're going to be looking at Davey's own, writing some biographical information, and even delved into some of his patents. So get ready for a fascinating journey.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, let's start by setting the stage. John Davey's story is a real rags-to-riches tale. He was born in England back in 1846, started out working on his father's farm.
Humble beginnings.
For sure. But here's the kicker. He didn't learn the alphabet until he was in his 20s. Imagine that.
That's incredible, considering the work he went on to do.
Right. I mean, can you imagine trying to navigate the world of trees without even being able to read a basic botany text?
It really speaks to his natural intuition and deep understanding of trees. It's like he had this innate connection with them.
Absolutely. But he wasn't just relying on instinct. After those early years on the farm, he went on to complete a 6-year apprenticeship in horticulture and landscape architecture. It shows a real dedication to learning and honing his skills. Kind of reminds me of how we as arborists are always striving to expand our knowledge and keep up with the latest research and techniques.
Definitely. There's always something new to learn in this field.
Absolutely. So what about you? What were those first steps for you in the world of trees? What sparked that initial interest?
You know, for me, it all started with a simple fascination. I was that kid who was always climbing trees, completely drawn to them.
I can relate to that.
And over time, that fascination grew into a deeper appreciation for their role in our ecosystem. I started reading everything I could get my hands on about trees, their biology, their importance to the environment.
It's amazing how those early experiences can shape our paths. And for John Davey, that path led him across the Atlantic. He emigrated to America with a very specific goal in mind to promote the idea of professional tree care.
Which was a pretty radical concept back then.
Totally. Can you imagine trying to pitch that in the late 1800s? People probably thought he was crazy.
I can only imagine. Back then, trees were seen as either resources to be exploited or obstacles to be removed.
Right. It was a very utilitarian view.
Exactly. But Davey had this vision of a world where trees were valued and cared for as living assets. It was a revolutionary way of thinking.
He was way ahead of his time, that's for sure. So he arrives in Ohio, starts his own landscaping and greenhouse business, and then boom, in 1880, he establishes the Davey Tree Expert Company.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
And what a history it is. I mean, think about it. That company is still thriving in Kent, Ohio today. It's a testament to his vision and the lasting impact he had on the field of arboriculture.
Absolutely. And it's not just the company. His son, Martin L. Davey, went on to become the governor of Ohio.
Yeah, talk about a family legacy that extends beyond the branches.
It really shows the profound impact the Davey family had, not just on arboriculture, but on society as a whole. And it all stems from John Davey's pioneering spirit.
Now, to really understand his impact, we have to delve into his masterpiece, The Tree Doctor, published in 1901.
Ah, yes, The Tree Doctor.
He literally wrote the book on tree care. And it was a game changer for the profession.
It was groundbreaking for its time.
So what made this book so revolutionary? What were some of the key ideas that Davey put forward?
Well, for starters, Davey championed the idea that tree care should be a scientific discipline just like medicine. He argued that trees weren't just inanimate objects to be hacked at. They were complex living organisms that deserved specialized care from trained professionals.
Which is the foundation of our certification process today, right?
Exactly. It's incredible to think that the principles we uphold today were first articulated over a century ago by this passionate advocate for trees.
And he wasn't just a scholar. He was a savvy businessman, too. He self-published The Tree Doctor and sold it for $1, making it accessible to a wider audience.
That's a great point. It wasn't just about making a profit. It was about spreading the gospel of good tree care far and wide.
He clearly had a deep desire to educate and empower people to care for their trees properly.
Absolutely. He saw knowledge as the key to ensuring the health and well-being of trees.
And speaking of knowledge, get this. John Davey wasn't just an author and advocate. He was also a prolific inventor.
Oh, that's right. He had quite a few patents to his name.
He held 2 patents himself and inspired a dozen more within his company. We're talking about groundbreaking techniques that transformed the field of tree care.
Like his pruning techniques, for example.
Ah, yes, his pruning techniques. Those were considered radical at the time.
They were. He emphasized proper angled cuts to promote healing, a practice we now consider standard. But back then, it was a major shift from the hacking and sawing methods that were prevalent.
It's amazing how much we take for granted today thanks to Davey's pioneering work. But I'm curious, why were those angled cuts so important? What's the scientific reasoning behind them?
Well, Davey understood that a flush cut, while seemingly neat and tidy, could actually impede a tree's ability to heal properly.
Interesting.
By making a precise angled cut just outside the branch collar, he was encouraging the tree to form callus tissue more effectively.
So it's about working with the tree's natural healing process.
Exactly. He wasn't just pruning branches, he was facilitating the tree's own ability to recover and thrive.
That's fascinating. It really highlights his deep understanding of tree biology. He wasn't just a practitioner, he was a true innovator.
Absolutely. And that innovative spirit extended to other areas of tree care as well, like his method for cavity filling, for instance.
Ah, yes, the cavity filling. I have to admit, I'm a bit skeptical about that one, knowing what we know now.
I understand. But it's important to remember the context. Back then, Davey's approach was considered revolutionary. He drew parallels between tree care and dentistry, believing that filling cavities would protect the tree from further decay and promote healing.
So it was a well-intentioned approach, even if it ultimately didn't stand the test of time.
Concisely. He was trying to find solutions to problems that at the time had no other viable treatments.
It's a reminder that our understanding of tree biology is constantly evolving, and we have to be willing to adapt our practices accordingly.
Absolutely. We're always learning and refining our methods based on new research and observations.
But let's move on to another of Davey's innovations, cabling and bracing. This one's still very much relevant today, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Cabling and bracing are still essential tools in our arsenal for supporting structurally weak trees and preventing potential hazards.
And it was John Davey who pioneered these techniques, recognizing that sometimes a little mechanical assistance can go a long way in preserving a tree's life and ensuring public safety.
He was a visionary in that regard, seeing the bigger picture and understanding the role of arboriculture in shaping a healthier and more sustainable world. And that vision extended beyond his own lifetime. He knew that to truly make a lasting impact, he needed to create a legacy that would continue to inspire and educate future generations of arborists.
And that's where the Davey Institute comes in, right?
Exactly.
For those who might not be as familiar, can you give us a little background on the Davey Institute? It's more than just a company training program, right?
Oh, absolutely. The Davey Institute, founded by John Davey in 1908, is a testament to his commitment to advancing the science and practice of arboriculture. It's a research and educational institution dedicated to promoting the understanding and care of trees.
So it's like the Harvard of tree care.
You could say that. Yeah. It's a place where arborists can go to deepen their knowledge, refine their skills, and stay at the forefront of the profession.
And it's been a driving force in shaping the standards and practices we follow today. Think about it for over a century. The Davey Institute has been conducting research, developing new techniques, and training arborists from all over the world.
It's incredible to think about the ripple effect of John Davey's vision. He created a company, wrote a book, invented groundbreaking techniques, and then established an institute to ensure that his legacy would continue to grow and evolve. That's a level of dedication that's truly inspiring.
It really is. And it speaks to his unwavering belief in the importance of professional tree care, not just as a job, but as a calling. He saw arborists as stewards of these vital living beings entrusted with their health and well-being.
And that sense of stewardship, that deep respect for trees, is something that continues to resonate with us today. It's what motivates us to do our best work, to constantly seek new knowledge, and to advocate for the preservation of trees in our communities.
Speaking of advocacy, one thing that always strikes me about John Davey is his ability to connect with people, to inspire them to care about trees. He wasn't just a scientist or a businessman. He was a gifted communicator.
Absolutely. And he had a knack for making complex topics accessible and engaging.
We touched on his book earlier, but he was also a popular public speaker, right? Mm-hmm. sharing his knowledge and passion for trees with audiences far beyond the professional arboriculture community.
Exactly. He was a regular on the Chautauqua circuit, which, for those who don't know, were these traveling tent shows that brought educational and cultural programs to towns and cities across America in the late 19th and early 20th centuries.
So imagine a giant tent filled with people eager to learn about everything from science and history to literature and music. And then John Davey takes the stage, this passionate advocate for trees, ready to blow their minds with the wonders of the arboreal world.
It must have been quite a sight. And he had this wonderful way of engaging his audience, of making even the most complex scientific concepts accessible and relatable. He used humor anecdotes and real-life examples to illustrate his points and connect with people on an emotional level.
He's like the Bob Ross of trees, bringing joy and wonder to the world, one branch at a time.
I love that. And he had this charming habit of encouraging his audiences to plant trees. He would often distribute seed packets at the beginning of his talks, and instead of accepting a speaker's fee, he'd ask the audience to promise to plant those seeds and nurture them into healthy trees.
That's such a beautiful gesture. It shows his genuine desire to make a difference, to leave the world a little greener and more beautiful than he found it.
And it speaks to his understanding that trees are more than just individual organisms. They're part of a larger interconnected web of life, and our well-being is intricately linked to their health and vitality.
He was an early advocate for the importance of trees in urban environments, wasn't he? Recognizing their role in improving air quality, reducing stress, and creating a sense of peace and tranquility in our bustling cities.
Absolutely. He saw trees as essential partners in creating healthy and vibrant communities, a concept that's more relevant than ever today as we face the challenges of climate change and urbanization.
His vision continues to inspire us to advocate for the preservation and expansion of urban forests, to educate our communities about the value of trees, and to plant and care for trees for generations to come.
And it's not just about planting any tree, it's about planting the right tree in the right place, considering its growth habits, its environmental needs, and its potential impact on the surrounding ecosystem. It's about applying the principles of scientific tree care that John Davey championed over a century ago.
It's about honoring his legacy by approaching our work with the same level of care, dedication, and respect for these magnificent living beings that he so clearly embodied.
I couldn't agree more. John Davey's story is a powerful reminder that one person can truly make a difference, and that our actions today can have a lasting impact on the world around us.
It's amazing to think that even though John Davey lived over a century ago, his impact on the world of arboriculture is still so profound. His story is a testament to the power of passion, innovation, and a deep respect for nature.
Absolutely. And I think one of the key takeaways from his life is that a true arborist is never done learning. Davey was constantly studying, observing, experimenting, always seeking to deepen his understanding of trees and refine his methods.
That resonates with me for sure. The world of trees is so complex and ever-changing. There's always something new to discover, some new challenge to tackle. It's what keeps our work so engaging and rewarding.
Precisely. And I think that's a message worth emphasizing for anyone listening, especially those who are just starting out in their arboriculture careers. Yeah. Embrace the journey of lifelong learning. Never stop asking questions, seeking out new knowledge, and challenging yourself to grow as an arborist.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the life and work of John Davey, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listeners will walk away with? What's that nugget of wisdom from Davey's story that you think will stick with them?
That's a great question. For me, it's the idea that every tree has a story to tell.
I like that.
Davey understood that trees are not just objects. They're living beings with their own unique histories, challenges, and potential. And as arborists, it's our job to listen to those stories, to observe carefully and use our knowledge and skills to help each tree thrive.
It's about approaching our work with humility and respect. And on that note, I want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of John Davey, the father of tree surgery.
It's been a pleasure sharing his story with you.
And we hope you've been inspired to learn more about this remarkable man and his enduring legacy.
So until next time, keep climbing high, keep those saws sharp, and keep that passion for trees burning bright.
We'll see you on our next deep dive into the world of arboriculture.
Thank you for tuning into this episode. John Davey's legacy continues to shape the arboricultural world, and his dedication to trees and environmental stewardship is truly inspiring. If you're interested in learning more about the history of arboriculture and its key figures, be sure to check out additional resources. Don't forget to subscribe and support our work for more insights into the world of trees and tree care.